Here's a little trick that shows how CueCam lets you overlay an image in the corner of your presentation. So in today's webinar, I was asked if it was possible to get this kind of layout in CueCam without resorting to some other graphical tool. So we've got the board in the background, which we can kind of move around, and then we've got this secondary little, just a thing up in the corner. So how's it possible to do that in CueCam? There isn't really a layout to do that. So I did have to have a little think, but thanks to CueCam's very flexible layout system, it was actually pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do is create a new document in CueCam and jump into demo mode. So I've got my new document, jumping into demo mode, and this is what a new document looks like. So down here on my desktop, I've got my board and I've got my little chance card graphic. So I'm going to drag the board into this area, or you can drag it onto here, but it's going to fill the background. And you can sort of like use the mouse wheel to sort of zoom in on that if you want to crop that out a little bit or kind of come out. And then we need to, what we're going to do is like add this as, we're going to build up a slide here basically. So I'm going to drag this into the text area, and you should see the cursor go, but you'll know it's wrong if there's that hold for options thing. But if you just drop it, now you see that's there, and that's a slide image. Now by default, it goes down there because the default layout in this case today was a lower third, so it's going to put an image in the lower third. But what we can do is play about with some different layouts and put that on a different side. And you can actually resize this, the size of the card is going to be based on the width of that area. Now once you've done that, how do we get that up to the top? Now the way CueCam's layout system works is it just sort of lines things up along in a line. So if we add a spacer here, it's going to push this card up to the top, right? So we're just going to go into the card, we're going to go down here, we're going to go text, spacer, and that just pushes that immediately up to the top. So if I just clear, yeah, you see that's now pushed by that spacer element. So here's what the card design looks like. So we've got the chance card.jpg, and the spacer element just pushes that up to the top. And then of course we can still, sort of decide how we want that to look. It's hard to see if we're hovered over it. But the final thing here is, obviously this isn't actually, we can't see the board behind it, but I think it looks okay. And we could say, like chance card, we could add other stuff here underneath if we wanted to label it. But say we just want to show the card, what we can do is actually make this area transparent. And we do that by going to the card area here, and we've got this design option here. So by default, it will, whatever your document design system is, it's going to be clean here. So that's just going to be what it uses. But what you can do is override that on the card by selecting this drop down and changing that to expert. And then once that's expert, that background becomes transparent. So if we zoom in a bit more, we can see that background is now transparent, and when we present that, that's just going to be like that. And you can still sort of find the resizing widget. You can actually move this thing, so I didn't need that to be blocking the whole time. But you can still resize it and just move it in and out. And so that's basically how you can create really easily just create a little layout like that. So that's a little demo of how you can use CueCam's adaptive layout system to do neat stuff.